Hey, it's Mike with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's November 10th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and quite the rally today. We rallied off that midline, as I told you, we turned back there, and there was a chance we could go higher if that held. And I didn't expect anything like this, but man, what a rally! So we're definitely in very overbought territory now. Anything above that brown line is very overbought. So um, I'm not sure what to expect tomorrow. We may see some consolidation or maybe even a little bit of a sell-off tomorrow. But that's quite a move higher there. I'm not even sure exactly how many points that is, but just rough estimate from 37.51 to, I mean, it's 200 and something points basically. It's crazy. But we did make new highs too. We outpaced this last swing high here, so we may be bottoming out here. We'll just have to see. You get days like this, you get a lot of this is probably short covering as the market continues to go up. All these people that were short and all here want to take profits before they evaporate, or they got short down here and before their losses get too bad, they want to exit, and it just kind of accelerates and it creates big rallies like this. We could trend up to the trend line, turn back down, or we could just, I mean, we've been working kind of sideways. You can see how flat the um, envelope bands are there. They're relatively flat, so we could just be kind of working sideways. It's just really hard to know. This market's just really crazy right now. And as hard as we went up today, we could have another day like that, or we could have a down day just as strongly. So we'll see what tomorrow brings, but it's all uphill today. And a lot of this came at the 7:30 CPI. I mean, that's the thing. This is based on, uh, or at least the rally came out of the news, which was the CPI was about 2/10 of a percent better than what they expected, and supposedly some great improvement, but we still had almost 8% uh, inflation for the month. So, I mean, to me, that's not a good. I mean, it's better than 9% that we had the month before, but is that a good thing? I find that hard to believe that's good enough to rally the market 200 points. So, this may be a little bit of an over exaggeration, but we'll see. We can only do so much with the charts, and sometimes there's easy clues to know what's going to happen, and I have no idea what's going to happen here, other than we're very overbought. But the market can be overbought for a while, and uh, rallies like this, especially with all the selling we've had recently, could see a lot of short cover. You can see we've been in this bear market for a while, so and this bear market's not over in my opinion, but maybe we found the bottom. We'll see. My guess is it's just a temporary bottom, and I mean the tail will tell when we get to this trend line if it holds or not, if we even get back up there. So we'll just have to see. It's just difficult to know exactly what we're going to see short term based on what we're seeing here, other than this was just a huge day up. And can we get another day like that? We certainly could, especially if it starts trending higher and you get the short covering again, more short covering. But uh, my guess is we're going to see some consolidation, maybe even as the market back up. Anyway, I had a little interruption there, but let's flip over to the intraday chart and take a look at it and go from there. Okay, just a couple of things before we get to this. I appreciate all the notes and prayers for my mom. It's greatly appreciated. She says she feels great, as good as she could, but she's in physical therapy and will be for a little while, and says they're working her really hard, and so that's a good thing. But thanks again for the emails and notes and prayers and things like that. I certainly appreciate it. And also, this is Thursday, so this will wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Fridays. Somebody had asked me, I think maybe Monday. I'm not sure if it's this Monday, but maybe Monday is some kind of bank holiday, but the markets will be open Monday. I forget. I think it's Veterans Day or something like that. But the markets will be open. I went and checked the CME, and the next holiday we have will be Thanksgiving, then Christmas, and then New Year's. So we're down to the end of the year here, getting into December, and so it'll slow down a little bit during the last couple of weeks of the year, and then probably things will pick up again in January. But um, let's get to the chart lesson here. You can see the big spike up here that happened on this news, and the blue box is where I would have been flat. I've been, lately I've been telling you, especially this stuff, be flat at least 15 minutes going into that, and so that only leaves, if you start trading at 7 like I usually do, that only leaves about 15 minutes. So I just sit tight and wait for this news to hit and be over, and then try to jump on from there. Um, so let's zoom in here right after where it's starting to settle down and get normal again. And you can see I drew this. It looked like a spike. Basically, it's a spiking channel. And I drew this channel and this trend line. And we're just kind of chopping up through here. There was a second entry here. I didn't quite like this one just because it closed below the EMA. And it is a second entry, first entry, second entry. You might even look at that as a triple test as well. So I just didn't like the fact that it had a little bit of stem. It looks like a doji, 2 in a row, and it closed below the EMA there. You might still take that one if you want to be a little aggressive. I'd wait and see if you get a reversal. And sometimes you don't get one and you miss a good move, but that's just the way trading is. If you want to be a successful trader, you don't worry about that. You just say, I'm waiting for a better setup, and if it comes, you get it. And if it doesn't, you just keep waiting. And that's what good traders do. So keep that in mind. But if you waited a few minutes, you got the failure right here. So when prices broke above, and this is a more advanced trade, so it's only for people that are experienced chart traders that have probably been making money for a while. The rest of you, leave these alone. And nobody ever listens to that advice, and they try to trade them, and they have all these losses, and then they're asking me a lot of questions. But please, just if you're not a very experienced chart trader, don't worry about reversals. You don't need them. Yeah, there's some powerful moves in them, but you really don't need them. And you're just going to, if you don't understand exactly what you're doing, you're going to have some losses on them, and you're going to be in big trouble. So anyway, we continue to chop up here. Finally get a break. We try to, notice we're coming down. We get a break of that channel. We try to go short once. We push up through the EMA, try to go short twice, and it turns back up. So if it breaks above that, that's a failure, and that's a reversal back with the trend. Right at the key entry point and the EMA, so I like that one. It didn't really take off like I thought it would. In fact, this almost looks like a double bottom, but that's clearly 2 legs. But let's just assume this is a double bottom and you got 2 legs here, so you might look at that as a failure as well. I didn't mark it because I think that's good enough for a leg there. It only has a couple of bars in it, so maybe you look at this one. And if you did, you should have entered here most likely. But if you didn't, if you looked at that as a double bottom and says, hey, I'm going to wait and let this be the first leg, and it comes back, if you're flat there, take that trade. I mean, it's basically, that's probably what is happening here. A lot of traders are like, I don't know if that looks like a leg. It looks like a leg, but is it? It's only really 2 bars. Maybe we'll wait. And so the smart traders waited, and then look, it takes off. And now we're moving up trying to make a new high here, and the price is actually making a new high and then some before turning down. And this is why you don't really try to pick a top. I mean, a couple of times here it looks like, hey, we got a top in and boom, it keeps going. And you got a top in, boom, it keeps going. And it could have done that here. So don't, on these strong trends like that, don't try and pick a top. So, and of course it turns down and we start trending down. I didn't mark this trade. There's a hidden second entry there, but this has been a strong uptrend. There's no reason to think prices couldn't go lower yet, though. And this trend, we don't have this trend line down here. All we had was this spike in channel going on. And so we could be reversing to go lower. So maybe you take that trade. We'll mark it green. But then we drop on down and you start working sideways, but there's a first entry and then so it's a second entry short, but it's also a failed break out of that little congestion area and the first break of the trend line. And then, like I said, there's a second entry, and so prices run to a new low, and then we make a bottom and turn up again. Now I draw that trend line off those first couple of lows there because it could be a bigger spiking channel here, which it is. And then we bounce there, like I said, first entry, you run up, come back, second entry, right at the key entry point. Again, it looks like a possible another spiking channel inside the previous one. And I like going long there. And it's, it's good for, I mean, depending on how you play it, you might have got a runner on this. But if you played it very conservative, you probably didn't. And it just takes off. And then it corrects. First entry, pull back, another second entry, and then pull back, another reversal there. Back with a trend. And we're looking for prices to make a new high on this spiking channel. And this one takes off. You get a runner here. There's a hidden second entry right there as well. I don't think I would treat that like one that just looks too sideways and congested. Runs on up, makes a new high, and then we're working lower again. I don't really see anything I like to the short side here. It's just kind of sideways, choppy. It continues to work lower. The channel never really gets confirmed before we get a break, and then we're chopping sideways again. It does drop down and make a new low, and then we're going the other way. And again, I just don't see anything to the short side here that's worth taking or risking in such a strong, what's been a strong uptrend so far. And then we make that low, and then we get a first entry, push through the EMA, pull back, get a second entry, and there's another one of those reversals. That is a big, somewhat neutral bar, but you don't really care too much about the bar, what it looks like. Generally, the more bearish it is when it reverses and breaks, the better a trap it tends to be, and the easier the trade is. But when it turns out to be a real neutral bar like that, sometimes those can trip you up, and sometimes those will fail. So I'm not as crazy about that one, but all the same, you may take it. So I marked it green. Runs up, get a break, and again, there's another hidden second entry hidden here. But the signal bar is no good, so it's not anything you could take, even if you wanted to trade the hidden second entry. And then we're working lower again. There is another failure right here. But look how congested that is. Just stay out of that. Now, you might trade this trade. I didn't mark it, but if you look here, it looks a little like a repeat pattern of, where was it? Right here, where we break out at the trend line, get the break, break out at the trend line, get the break, and turn back down. Big bearish bar. You might take that one. I didn't mark it because this is an uptrend, and you got to be careful going short in this thing anyway, so I don't think it's worth risking. But anyway, you got the break, new low, and look how it bounces off that midline. Here was that same reversal again. Notice the new low, first entry, second entry, another one of those. It almost looks like a repeat here. If you recognize that, maybe you take that trade, but you need to at least recognize that. And it continues to chop on up. You get a new high, first entry, pull back, second entry, right off the key entry point. I like going long there. You can see it's a quick, easy. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a second entry and a strong trend right off a key entry point at the EMA. We run on up, come back. We finally get a break, close outside, first entry, pull back, and when it breaks out here, another second entry, another quick, easy move. And then it turns down again. There, once again, there's another reversal here, but it looks a little congested. It probably would have worked before it bounces, but it's just really not worth risking it in this strong uptrend. I mean, we could turn right back up here again. You could get trapped. We continue to work lower. There is a lower high here, but we've already got a close outside this, what looks like a channel here. It continues on and actually holds again, but you already had your break, and then suddenly it reverses. It's just, I just think that people were thinking this thing was going to reverse. We'd gone too far, and you get a little sell. It's probably some profit taking, to be honest, because we've moved so far. And so some people might have been taking some profit in here, and then suddenly it dries up and we're working up again. And I don't see anything in here I like to go long. It's just too kind of sideways and congested and up and down, and you can get chopped up in that stuff. Pushes on up, comes back, first entry, second entry, but that signal bar is no good. Makes another swing high there, and you get a first entry, and then you get a second entry with a decent signal bar. And it didn't break lower, but it makes a lower high, so it's still a second entry. And then it pulls back and gives you a failure reversal type pattern right there with the trend, a big bearish bar. So I like that one, and look at it go. Another runner, easy entry. We're chopping across. We're just continuing to go higher. Lots of buying, and this is a strong trend again. When you see these little dojis and stems, and you don't get very big corrections, and then suddenly profit taking probably comes back to the trend line. I marked this one as green. Notice that you got a new high here, and there's a little hidden second entry. Nice signal bar right at the key entry point. I mean, at the very least, even if it's going to go lower, it's probably going to run back to the EMA there, so there's plenty of room to get out. But we're probably going to try to make a new high, and it kind of chops on up and just keeps going. And I just don't really see anything in here that getting this late, close to 2:30. I don't see anything else here I really like. You don't really want to. You might take that trade. It's just a chance to get long at the low of the range, what looks like a range with plenty of room back to the highs. It would have worked. I don't know that I risk it though. And we're chopping along. This just continues to go higher. I mean, it just keeps going, even well into 2:30. Finally got a break, moves to a new high, and it corrected a little bit. But yeah, I just don't see anything else here after about 1 o'clock that I think is worth taking. Again, you're just working sideways here. Another little congestion area. Wrong one. Didn't intend to do that. Let's try it again. And I just don't, there's nothing you can go long here, and you don't want to be going short really. So, and that gets you into 2:30. So there it is. I mean, there's plenty of easy trades here today. Second entries with the trend. You only need one or two of those, especially as many, several of those would have had some big, just simple runners, easy runners. So good trading day. And for a day with this much movement, there weren't as many trades as you would think there would be. I mean, because once it starts going, it just gets risky. So see how this trend just continues to go and get higher and higher. As long as it's working off the EMA or midline, maybe you could take some of those trades. But when it starts to get way away, like this one, when it's way away from the EMA, you just can't risk. And you've already had your break, and it just keeps going. You can't really risk entering up here unless you get a sure thing, like a easy second entry with great signal bar. I mean, a perfect entry almost. And even then, you're going to be far away from the EMA, so it's going to make it risky. Because the further and longer you stay away from that EMA, it's like just remember this, the EMA is like a magnet. When prices get away from it, they pull it back. When they touch it, they repel it. So prices run up and get away and then pull back. The magnet pulls them back, and then as soon as it comes back, the magnet pushes it off. It's like two opposing magnets. And so if you keep that thought process in mind, and remember that you don't enter way away, because that magnet's pulling back, and that it's going to come back to that EMA pretty quickly. And people always ask me, why do you pick a 21 EMA? There's a reason we pick an EMA. It's a special number, and we've tested them, and it's the most, it tends to work the best. And so there's a reason we picked the 21 EMA. So, I'll come in here and people say, well, I decided I want to use a 13 or 14 EMA or 200-day moving average or something like that. I mean, I'm not saying those moving averages don't work, but this one is special, and there's a reason we choose it. So use it, so to speak. But anyway, great trading day, great rally. Finally glad to see a rally. I mean, honestly, my choice is we bottom out and we go nowhere but straight up, because I have a lot of long-term investments. I have a 401k retirement from my corporate days long ago, and it's sitting there getting hammered every day, and I'm getting closer to retirement, and it's doing horrible. So every long-term investment I got's getting pounded. So it'd be nice to see a bottom, but until this economy turns around, I don't see it happening. And my guess is they're wanting to stop more drilling, and so gas and oil just gonna go higher, and that's gonna drive everything back up. And I don't know. I don't know what to expect. But anyway, I don't want to get off on that tangent today. But I just don't think the economy's going to turn real quickly here. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you had a great week. Continue to keep my family and my mother in your prayers, if you would, please. That she'll have a speedy recovery, and that maybe she'll recover fully and get full use of her extremities again, and be able to walk and normally and that kind of thing. She's a pretty active, has been a fairly active for her age, and she's kind of down and out about it, and it's going to be tough for her if she cannot get out and go and kind of have her freedom any longer. It's going to be a tough thing for her. So we hope that she'll recover fully and that she'll be able to do that again. But we'll just have to see. Time will tell. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, just bear with me. I'm going to be in and out of here a lot. I haven't had a chance to read anything in the forum. I'm here. I'm pulling a lot of different directions right now, trying to help her and take care of her things, take care of her household and her animals, and I've just got a lot on me right now. So bear with me, and I'll get through this. We'll get through this, and hopefully things will kind of get back to normal here sooner rather than later. But I'm going to wrap it up. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday. I'm done for today, done for this week. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next